Welcome to Crypto Rosetta. My name is Savage. Today we're going to be having a look at Bitcoin Cash. This is going to be a macro video. There will also be a lower time frame video linked up above. Check it out if you want more of that information. Okay, so let's get into the price action and see what's going on. So what I'm looking for here primarily is I do think that this is still not completed its move to the downside. And what I'm treating this move as is this is an A wave. This is a 3-wave corrective move to the upside. And then we are looking for the potential of having a 5-wave move to the downside. Now, this is a 1-to-1, could potentially look to target out this zone of this 27.49. However, we do also have some other areas of interest, the 786 here at the 65.94 and this 0854 at this 49.94 region. So the way that I'm counting this move is that this is a 1-2, 1-2 here. Then effectively this is a 3rd wave. We're looking for a 4th and a 5th. Now, it is technically possible that this 3rd wave over here could have completed into this low point, in which case what we could be looking for is a 4th and a 5th already in the blue count. But it is also possible that this is actually still this 4th wave. Now, the key difference here is if we see this move to the upside one more time, rather I would be looking at it as this blue 4th wave. If, however, we look to reject to the downside here, then I would be looking at it as this yellow 4th wave. So if I come in here, what we can see is that I'm looking for this target area here of this 84.96 to this 70.67. So this would actually be looking for this to break down in a 5-wave move. Now, there is a couple of ways that this can happen. We could potentially be looking at a diagonal here. We're going to go over the internals, but what we'd be looking for effectively is a 5-wave structure to the downside into this zone. Now, if we did actually move down here, what we would have to be on the lookout for is if we cross this 76.66, we could actually still see further continuation here where we get an additional 4th and a 5th. Now, what I'd be looking for here then, if we do move down into this 84.96 region, would be a 3-wave move to the upside, 232 to this 126 area. This would be our key rejection zone. Now, if we are looking at this as a 4th, we would see this 3-wave move up here, followed by an additional 5th wave, which could look to push us down towards this 60.15 to this 43.07. So that would be where we would be looking for as a potential 5th wave target. Now, this would actually bring us down here to this 854, but anywhere between this zone here of this 786 to this 854 would be a likely target in my opinion. What we would want to see here, if we are looking at this as A, B, and C, is we would want to see a break of this low here, the 73.70. So really, and once we've actually broken the low, it is possible that we could just reverse, but we need to just bear in mind that this count is actually saying that we've got a couple of 4ths and 5ths still to come here. So we're going to go over some of the internal stuff here. Now, if we're looking at this move here, we could potentially argue that this 4th wave is completed. Now, if this 4th wave is completed, what we would then be looking for is the potential to actually break down in a 5-wave structure. So what I'm looking for here is effectively forming a diagonal pattern where we would look at this as 1, 2, and then we'd be looking at this as the first part of a wave 3 to the downside. Now, this wave 3, if we do get a pushback up here towards this 618, which would be sitting here towards this 123 area, then I would be looking for an additional 5-wave move down towards this 97.75 before looking for an additional 4th wave to the upside. If we see a move that breaks down past this 93.05, this would invalidate the idea of the diagonal and would mean that we're probably just breaking down directly, and we'll go over that shortly. Now, if we did see this, we'd be looking for 3-wave moves. Now, based off of this, we could actually potentially see a 4th wave come back up into this 115 to this 114 region before looking for an additional 3rd wave to the downside, so 5th wave to the downside in 3 waves, which would be looking for this 93.59 to this 92.62. Now, if we did see something like this where we form a diagonal here, this could potentially mean that the 5th wave is truncated. So what this would mean is effectively that this yellow 5th wave that we have here could actually end over here and even not break this point. So this would be looking at that possibility of a diagonal truncation, in which case then we would be looking for this potential of the 4th wave to play out from this point, where we'd be looking for a move back up here between this zone of this 232 to this 126. Now, if we did move up here, I would be keeping an eye on this previous 4th wave high of this 154 area. There isn't a confluence here, but potentially this could still offer us rejection if we did move back up here. Now, alternatively, we could see this move up higher towards this 50%, which would be this 232. So we'd have to monitor this move and see how it plays out, but we'd be looking for that additional rejection here. Now, the other way that we could potentially look at this is that if this diagonal completes, what we could then actually have is a bigger 5-wave move forming here, where actually this becomes wave 1. We'd look for a 3-wave move to the upside, which fails to break above this 38.56, and then we'd be looking for this continuation to the downside, which could actually mean that we could see some extension here, where this 5th wave actually looks to target lower down towards this 52.73 to this 46.88. Now, the key thing here is invalidation would actually be by crossing back above this high point here of this 154.54. If we fail to do that and we face rejection in here, we could be looking for this more bearish scenario here. We could also argue that within here we have had a triangle as A, B, C, D, E. Now, it is also possible that this triangle could still be in play. And how would this still be in play? So what we could also argue is that potentially we could look at this as A, B, and C to the downside, in which case this D location could actually end up towards this 104.13 to this 102.04. Now, if we did see this play out where we get this as an additional leg here for this D wave that we have here, what we'd then be looking for is that potential of that E wave coming back and retesting this top trend line, which is drawn between this A to C area. What we'd be looking for then would be that potential of the E wave playing out and then looking for that rejection from that point. So this would be meaning that we could actually see potential to actually see a push up here towards this 149.23 sort of area, and actually looking to take out some of these highs before looking to break to the downside. Now, it is possible if this does develop as an E wave to the upside, what we could then see is it could even break this C wave high slightly, where we wick through that and then actually look to continue down. If we see price start to push up and get back above this and starting to push up past this A wave high of this 164.80, I would not be looking at it as a triangle anymore. Now, if we are looking at this as a potential triangle that's completed over here, what we could actually see is a 5-wave move breakdown in this way, where we actually treat this as a wave 1, 2, where we're looking for a rejection of this 129.32 to this 120.92 area. Breaking above this 135.99 would invalidate this potential, where we'd be looking at this as 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, which could actually look to push us down to that 82.57 to that 78.06 as a potential target. Confirmation would become by pushing down to this 85.66. So what we would then be looking for there would actually be the potential of coming into this target area that we have here, which is sitting at this 84.96 to the 70.67. So this would actually tie in with actually coming down directly here, and what we'd actually build is another wave 2 here before looking for this bigger push to the downside. So really, until we start to break some of these key swing highs here, we need to be careful of that potential that we could actually see this play out. If, however, the blue 3rd wave actually completes into this point, what we could actually see is that this could be an ABC, which would actually tie into the idea of having this as a bigger 4th wave, the blue 4th wave here, where we'd be looking for this higher range. So, well, between this 232 to this 12656. Now, if this is the case, what we could actually then argue is that we have this is an A wave, this is a B, and then we're looking for a C wave. So this would be valid for as long as we actually continue to maintain this support zone here, which would be this 121.01, 121.16 to this 102.14. Now, if we did see a push to the upside towards this 174 region, this would still tie into the idea of being a 4th wave, and then we could still look for that push to the downside. There is a bullish potential here where we could look to reverse, but we will be looking at this primarily as the count. If we want to see the bullish one, we will discuss that in a second, but what we need to see is actually see price action follow through. So the other way that we can look at this from further back here is that basically what we have is a bigger corrective structure. We would be treating this as WX and then looking at this as A, B, and C into this low. Now, if we look at this as an A, B, and a C into this low point here, what we would then be looking for is that potential of a reversal to the upside. So within this, we'd be looking for this bullish count to potentially play out. Now, what we'd be looking for here would actually be that this is a wave 1. We'd need to look and hold this support zone of this 98.52 here. And what we'd be looking for is this is W, this is X, and then looking potentially for A, B, and C, which could look to bring us back down into this 98.52. But we have technically come down into this golden pocket already. So if we do start to see a reversal to the upside here, which we come and take these highs, then we could actually be starting this bigger move. Now, the key thing here is that if we were looking at this as a impulse, now I have gone from this lower down level here if we were to argue we've already completed at that golden pocket, what we'd be looking for is a move up towards this 270.53 as a wave 3. Then we'd be looking for an additional fourth and a fifth wave, which could look to actually push us up towards this higher range here of this 334 to this 292. However, if we look to push down deeper again, this would change that third wave target and would actually move this here to this 237 if we came down to this 1-to-1 of this W wave. It would be this 94.76. So invalidation of this as a potentially bullish count would come by crossing this 87.39, and then we would be looking at that bearish continuation, in my opinion. I still think that is more likely, but this count is still technically possible. Now, if we were arguing rather that this wave 2 is already completed into this low here, what we could then see is something along these lines where we see this hold this zone of this 105.50 and then start to push away, looking for this target actually up here of this 169.59. Failure to break into this zone of this 169.59 would give us less confidence that this is actually looking to trend to the upside. What we'd want to see is price action starting to build up and push through up here in a nice strong 5-wave move, looking to actually extend out. Now, the problem that we'd have within this count then, if we're looking at it in this way, is if we're looking at this as a 1-2, we need to see that much higher zone of that wave 3, which we went over, which would be here, this 264. So we need to see price action extend out past the zones that I've currently got marked out here. So if we are looking at this as 1-2, looking for 1-2 here, we'd need to see some other kind of extension. So what we would be looking for is potentially this is a 1-2, then we'd look for another 1-2, and then we'd look for that bigger 3-4-5 to actually play out to the upside. So we need to just be aware of that. It is technically possible that we could have a low in place here, but we need to see the price action follow through. Looking at this area as a range, what we can see is that we do have this point of control that we're currently sitting underneath. Now, if we do see price start to break down again, what we could actually see is a move down into this value area low, which is sitting here towards this $100. Obviously, a important psychological level as well. But we don't really have too much information after this, that once we break down past this, it's very difficult to get a gauge of it. Now, if we did have to push back up through these levels and we're talking about that bullish potential, what we could actually see is if we start to break above this zone here, we can see that there's a bit of a deficit in the volume. So if we did manage to break back above that, what we could see is quite a strong move to the upside here, looking for that possibility of a third wave. Now, if we did come back here, we do need to obviously also bear in mind this is going to be a very big level for us. We have a lot of volume that has been traded in this area, and we could actually see a rejection off of this and then looking to continue down. So we'll have to keep an eye on that if we do see this play out. At the moment, I'm not looking for a bigger move up here, but if we do see one, we need to see what structure it plays out with. It is possible we could see something like this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up into these zones before looking for a bigger retracement, looking to find support above this volume area and then looking to re-attack it. But we'd have to just keep an eye on that zone. Another thing that I just want to talk about here is that if we have a look at the Ichimoku cloud here on the weekly, we do have a very big red cloud above us. So if we do see a move to the upside in just 3 waves, I would be very cautious about interaction with this cloud. This could actually give us that potential zone we need for a rejection. Now, if that would tie into that idea that this is A, B, and C, looking for that bigger 4th wave. Now, if I overlay this, we can see that the 0.382 is sitting towards the lower range of this, and then we have this 50%, which would be up here towards this zone of this 232, which would be coming back into the baseline here and potentially into the cloud. So if we do see this play out as a bigger A, B, and C to the upside, sorry, A, B, and C to the upside, I would be very cautious around this zone. Obviously, we've got this big level here that aligns with it as well, so there would be quite a likely chance of a rejection off of there, even if it is just temporarily, before looking to actually continue on. Okay, so I'm going to leave the video there. I hope you found it useful. If you did, please smash the like button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, turn on those bell notifications so you never miss a video, and leave us some feedback down below. Also in the description, you'll find a link to Discord. Come check it out, it's free to join. Everyone have a great day. We'll see you in the next one. Take care.